Thank you, brother. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Reverend Theo Harris and Bishop Barber, the Poor People's Campaign of Texas, all these great women and men of faith, and those who've come together under this beautiful sky today. I want to thank all of you for making this moment possible and allowing us to make the most of it. It's true that Texas has produced laws which make this the hardest state in the nation, bar none, in which to vote. It also happens to be true that the current Republican leadership, from every statewide official to the majorities in both chambers of our state legislature, have introduced legislation that would make it even tougher, but not just on anyone. Those Texans with a disability, the very young, the very old, the working poor, black and brown, and other minorities in Texas are targeted for voter suppression and intimidation, as they always have been in this state. I want you to know that. But I also want you to know this. This state also produced a man whose name you may or may not know, Dr. Lawrence Nixon.
Yes, sir.
Born and raised in Marshall, Texas, made his way all the way across to the other end of the state, my hometown of El Paso, and in 1910 started the first chapter of the NAACP in the state of Texas.
Right.
And when in 1923, the Texas legislature, the predecessors of our current majority, in all their wisdom, passed what was known as the all-white Democratic primary, which meant that if you were a person of color, if you were black or brown in the state of Texas, you could not vote. The next year, actually 97 years ago this week, Dr. Lawrence Nixon walks into fire station number 5, his typical polling place in El Paso, and tries to vote. And the election judge before him says, "Dr. Nixon, you know I can't let you vote." And Dr. Nixon said, "I know you can't, but I've got to try." And try he did. For the next 20 years, he fought this battle. He took it to the Supreme Court and won not once, but twice. And along with Lonnie Smith of the 5th Ward of Houston, Texas, they brought down the all-white Democratic primary in 1944. It took them 20 years, but they never gave up. They never gave in. They fought that fight and they won it. This state, as Bishop Barber said, produced Lyndon Baines Johnson, who listened to the people of this country. When Dr. King and Andrew Young went to visit him after the passage of the Civil Rights Act and demanded that he pass a Voting Rights Act, Johnson is alleged to have said, "Gentlemen, I'd love to, but I just do not have the power. I cannot compel those members of Congress to vote for this. We'll never overcome the filibuster." And upon leaving, Dr. King turned to Ambassador Young and said, "We've got to go out there and find this man some power."
Yeah.
And over the course of the coming months, that's exactly what they did. Marches, moral ones, just like the one that will be led from Georgetown tomorrow all over this country, culminating on the 7th of March, 1965, John Lewis marching from Selma to Montgomery over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, nearly losing his life in the process. And it's not 8 days later, but LBJ has convened a joint session of Congress, and he grounds that speech to urge them to pass the right to vote in America in what John Lewis had just done in Selma, Alabama. Men and women of the Senate and the Congress, he said, all they're doing is marching for the right to vote, and you have the power to confer it. Yeah. What will you do? Right. And it was 56 years ago, the 6th of August coming up, that he was able to sign that law and ensure that we had a multiracial democracy in America going forward.
That's right, baby.
As Bishop Barber said, we have inherited their struggle, their leadership, their service, and their sacrifice. What we do with that will define us and this country forevermore, because Texas has not only produced the men and women that I've told you about, it has produced the people who are here right now. It has produced those brave state legislators who are in Washington, D.C., who left their families, who left their posts, who left their homes and face arrest when they come back, not because it's good for them, but because it's good for all of us. And I know that John Busey and James Tallarico, 2 state reps who represent Williamson County, are here in spirit with us right now as they fight the good fight in Washington, D.C. So look, I close with this. In a government, if it truly is of, by and for the people. In this great democracy, there are no sidelines. There are no grandstands. There's no paying witness to what's happening right now. You are in this fight, or all of us will be out of it. So I encourage you to join us on this march, and most importantly, be with us in front of the state capitol this Saturday, 10 a.m. Will you join us?
Yeah.
All right. Good to be with you. Thank you, Bishop Barber.
Yes, sir.